In the previous video, we have seen what are exceptions and how to work with them. So this is completed. In this video, we will see an example on using try catch blocks to catch exceptions in a program. So I'm creating a new class here, new class, and I'm saying try catch example, and click on I'll be using main method as well, and click on finish. Okay, now the class is generated and we will be using the same example that we have seen in the previous video. So this is the example. So I'm just copying these lines of code and I'm putting it here. So what I'm doing here is basically I have defined 5 integer variables here, A, B, C, D, E, with values 10, 1, and let's change this one to 2 for now, 2, 5, 10. And I am dividing the first integer variable, which is A, with the second, third, fourth and fifth integer variables. That means B, C, D, E, and I am printing those values here. First division is A by B, second division is A by C, third division is A by D, and fourth division is A by E. So this is what I am doing. Let's run this one. So run as Java application, and it is printing the values of 10, 5, 2, 1. Now let us say I change the value of C from 2 to 0. Now in this case, so here it will produce an exception because here A by C, A value is 10 but C value is 0. So this line of code produces an exception and the program terminates here. Let's run this one. Run as Java application. So here you can see that it is printing the first value A by B. So first division is A 10, and then at the second statement it produced an exception, which is the exception is exception in thread main java.lang.arithmetic exception division by 0. So this is the exception, and it is not printing this third and fourth statements, so which is third division is and fourth division is, because the program is terminated at this point. Now using try catch blocks, we will write a try catch block around this one, because even though an exception is produced here, I don't want my program to terminate here. I want to print this third and fourth lines as well. So I will include this statement because this is the one currently causing the problem for us. So I will include this in a try catch block and we will make sure that the program won't terminate here. So let's see how we can do this. So what we have to do is, first we have to write a try block here. So try, and I will put this line in this try block. So once I write the try, then I have to write the catch block. So catch, in the catch block I will say system.out.println division by 0, so no result. So now what it will do is, it will, instead of producing instead of stopping the program at this point, what it will do is, it will catch the exception and it will print division by 0, no result, and it will proceed with the remaining statements. But here it is showing an error because syntax error on token catch finally expected. So here actually this catch statement, it takes an argument which is exception E. But again there is another duplicate parameter. Okay, so we have already defined this variable E, so it is not accepting. So I will say EX, the exception. So now the error is gone. So try catch blocks, we will define them here. Whatever the piece of code that causes problem, so we will put it in a try block, and in the catch block we will write some piece of code, whatever the code we want to do during the exception, we will write it here. Here we are simply saying that okay, just simply print out division by 0, so no result, and this catch block, it takes an argument which is exception and a name for the exception EX. Okay, so now let us run this one and see what happens. Run as Java application, and now you can see that the first division is 10 and the second division, now it is causing the problem, so we caught the exception. That is why it is printing division by 0, so no result, and it is proceeding with the remaining statements. So the third division is 2 and fourth division is 1. So this is how we can use try catch blocks. Now instead of let's print out the exception also. The exception can be printed like system.out.println, and this variable ex will have the exception. So we can directly print out this exception here. Let's run this one. Run as Java application, and you can see that first division is 10 and then it is printing the exception here, which is java.lang.arithmetic exception division by 0, and next it is printing division by 0, so no result, division by 0, so no result, and then it is printing third division and fourth division. So this is how we can use try catch statements to catch exceptions in Java. Now let us see one more example. I am creating a new program here, new class. This program will be similar to whatever we have discussed just now, but in order to give you a better understanding of the exceptions using try catch blocks, I am writing one more program here. So the next one is try catch example 1. So the class name is try catch example, and I am using the main method as well. Now here what I will do is I will write two integer arrays. So int arr1 equals to, I will say 1, let's say 10 comma 20 comma 30. So this is one integer array, and in the next integer array I will say int arr2 equals to 2, 5, 10. Now what I will do is I will write a program which divides each element of this array with each element of this second array. So first I will write a for loop here. So in the for loop I will say for int I equals to 0, I is less than arr1 dot length and I plus plus. That means first I am iterating through the first loop, and then again I am writing another for loop where I will say for int j equals to 0, j is less than arr2 dot length and then j plus plus. So I am iterating through the second loop as well. Then I will print out system.out.println. I will print out directly arr1 of I divided by arr2 of j. So what I will do here is I will divide 10 with 2, 5, 10, and then I will divide 20 with 2, 5, 10, and then I will divide 30 with 2, 5, 10. So this is what I am going to do. So let's run this one. So run as Java application, and it is printing the values like 5 to 1. That means 10 divided by 2 is 5 and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So like this it is printing all the values here. Now let's say the second value in the second array I am changing it to 0. So not the second value, let's say I'm changing the third value to 0. I have changed the third value to 0. So what happens at this point? Now 10 divided by 2 it prints, 10 divided by 5 it prints, but when it comes to 10 divided by 0 it will throw an error, an exception. Let's run this one, run as Java application, and you can see that. So 10 divided by 2 it is printing 5, 10 divided by 5 it is printing 2, but 10 divided by 0 it is throwing an exception, arithmetic exception, division by 0. So what we have to do is we can handle this by using try catch blocks. So for using try catch blocks we can use try and then the piece of code that causes the problem, and then catch, and we have to provide a variable exception E, and then we'll say system.out.println, sorry, not possible. And let's see the finally also. We haven't seen finally, so let's have this finally method as well. And in the finally method, I'll say system.out.println. I'm just printing I am fine. That means each time, whether it throws an exception or not, this finally block should execute. So let's run this one. Run as Java application, and you can see that first time it has printed 5. So division 10 by 2, it has printed 5, and it has executed the finally block also, so it has printed I am final. Next time it has printed 2 and final, and third time it is saying that sorry, not possible, but it has executed I am final. So finally block will execute whether the try catch block handled an exception or not. Okay, and similarly if you see the next one, it produces the result, and the next one produces the result, and for the second variable in the first array it has printed sorry, not possible, but final block is executed. So this way we can use try catch blocks to catch exceptions so that the program won't terminate in the middle. In this video, we have seen examples on how to use try catch blocks. If you want to download the document for this one, you can go to my repository at github.com/subboostech and then go to Selenium-Java-tutorials. And this particular tutorial starts with numbering 24A. And this is the document exceptions-try catch blocks. You can download this document. In the next video, we will see about throws keyword.